My name is Venerable Cyrenius Dangana Okoriko. I am the Director of Missions, Church of Nigeria, Office of the Primate, here in Abuja. Mission and evangelism are two words that are very key to the survival of the church. Mission is the holistic work of the church. And when I mean holistic, I mean the total work of the church. It comprises evangelism, it comprises the social aspect of the church, and everything that gives man hope and health, both physical and spiritually. Evangelism is just one aspect of mission. It is going out to tell the good news to those who are yet to be saved. The work of mission and evangelism from this angle is more of administrative. I am not expected to cover the whole of Nigeria. It will be definitely impossible. So administrative-wise, we are the ones that sort of have an oversight function on how the work of mission and evangelism is being done in the dioceses and all over Nigeria. So we are more of administrative, we have more of the administrative responsibility in making sure that this work is done. And then we report same as we see, as we visit dioceses, as we visit areas where the work is being done, we report same to our boss, who is the primate of the Church of Nigeria. The origin of this department can be taken back to the Bible itself, because it is the Bible we preach. And you remember the mandate of Jesus Christ, that we should go out and preach the gospel to all mankind. There is no exception. And that was being done immediately after his departure here on earth. But actually, we say that the Church of Nigeria mission can be taken back to 1799, where some evangelicals felt burdened for the work of mission and evangelism. They felt the church in England by then was not doing enough. And so they took it upon themselves. In fact, they are lay people. It's not even the clergymen. Very many of them, they were burdened that, look, there are souls outside there that have not been reached with the gospel. And so they started an evangelical ministry called the CMS, Church Missionary Society. In fact, when they started, the church did not cooperate with them. It took over 200 years later for the church to really appreciate the work of these individuals. When they started, they were being, all sorts of stumbling blocks have been put before them to discourage them, but they were not discouraged. And thank God for the effort of these men, that they came to Africa and brought the gospel to us here in Africa. And it is because of their singular act that we can say that the church here in this part of the continent, and especially in Nigeria, was born. Because they came, they brought with them the gospel, they brought with them hospitals, they brought with them schools, what we now call the mission schools of yesteryears. These are the effort of this CMS from United Kingdom. And it was mainly a lay-led ministry with some few backups from some clergymen who also saw the burden and caught the vision as at that time. So that was how we got the gospel in Africa, and then maybe in Nigeria. And that was how it has been all over the years. You know, the mission from UK, spoon feeding us and so on. But it came to a point, to be specifically in 1994, when our church, after having had a conference in Jos in 1994, July, they met and decided to say, look, they are ripe enough, they are old enough to take this work of the mission themselves, no more depending on the white people. And that was how, by September of that year, 1994, they now gave a report to the standing committee in Ijebu. And at that standing committee, this CNMS, Church of Nigeria Missionary Society, was born and inaugurated. It was inaugurated sometime in September at the Cathedral Church, Marina, Lagos, in 1994. So the CNMS is the equivalent of the CMS, UK. But in this case, we have said, look, we are ripe enough to take the gospel by ourselves to our people. And that was how this office sort of came to be. Initially, when it started, we had the director who also is in the office. Then you also have the director of mission and evangelism that takes care of that arm of the church. And that is how it has been functioning ever since. Since 1994, you have the office of the mission and evangelism in the office of the primate. Well, we thank God. We have been working since we came up on board. We took over from now Bishop Samuel Eze of Okwa Diocese about 4 or 5 years ago. We took over from him as director, and we have been coordinating the work of mission as much as we can. Like I said, the work is being done at the diocesan levels. Each diocese is supposed to also have a director of mission, and that is how we operate. I oversee what those dioceses are doing by visiting them to know what they are doing. And so far, I've visited so very many dioceses over these 4 or 5 years I've been. And the work of mission is really is going on. Even if in the past it was redundant, but the fact that they know that the primate can send us to go and see what they are doing, most of the dioceses are really coming up. Let me give you an example. Some 2-3 years ago, I visited a diocese, and I was surprised to see that in the villages within that same diocese, there are churches that were closed down because of lack of care by the previous administrator or the previous administrations in the diocese. But because of this creation of this new office, they all knew that, look, the primate can ask for report to know what they are doing. And so I found out that because of this, these dioceses have now woken up from their slumber. They are woken up from their slumber, and they are now going out not only to reach villages that were not reached before, but even reviving those churches that were long abandoned because of lack of care, and people have scattered. They are resuscitating. So we will say that, yes, effectively, we are doing something, and it is really being fed in all the dioceses. Well, you see, when we report to the primate, I'm sure the primate knows how to call the bishop to tell them issues. I may not be in a position to know what they discuss, but the truth of the matter, I know I've made one such visit, and the the primate, minuted on my report and faxed it back to a bishop, and something was done immediately to correct that anomaly that was seen in the report. Because definitely I will tell you the way I have seen it. If they are not doing well, I will give my own observation. I'll go to churches, I'll see the churches, I've seen how they are working, but there are certain things I will also observe as a human being, and I put it as my observation, and private has had cause to respond to our report, and bishops are called to order. Definitely, in every aspect of human life, there is always room for improvement, but we are doing our possible best. Like you all know, one of the challenges you may have in some of this when it comes to mission and evangelism is on the issue of proper funding. But I just have to thank our present primate, because since he came up, he floated what we call the St. Matthias Day for offering, which is being collected all over Nigeria, and the proceeds sent to the headquarters here. And once that is done, we thank God, because he has also given the Church of Nigeria Missionary Society a portion of that fund in order to make her work easier. And the fact that even I, who occupy this office, I'm not being hindered at all to make the visitation, to make sure that these things like we said, we are doing what we can do, but I'm sure we can do much more. Yes, we normally have, like I said, we also have the CNMS as our partner. It's like an umbrella. The one that they are like the foot soldiers. So under this CNMS, there's what we normally call annual conference, where all the directors of mission and evangelism in all the dioceses will congregate every year. Issues, reports are brought. Those people who are our foot soldiers in the field under the payment of the CNMS, Church of Nigeria Missionary Society, they are called mission partners. They will come with their report. We meet for almost a week in a particular given diocese, and we brainstorm, we discuss, and where there are problems, that is brought to our attention, and it is collated, and it is sent back to the church authority. And I know many a times, because among the CNMS, you have a bishop as the chairman of the CNMS. When we do that conference, the bishop will be there. Whatever concern is raised, he is also part of the program, and it is minuted and sent to the primate, who, if there is need be, if there's any need for the primate to discuss it in the House of Bishop, issues are also raised concerning issues of mission and evangelism in Nigeria. So yes, definitely, once in a year, we normally have that sort of a meeting. Apart from the one that I tell you, I do random visitation all over the Church of Nigeria. And so you can see we are really in partnership with one another. Well, the benefits, the challenge I've already mentioned, it has to do with proper funding. I said we are doing something, but much more can be done. You can't have everything in life. The one you have, you make do, and you do it effectively. As far as the issue of the benefits of doing the work is concerned, well, more souls are being reached, and that is the idea of mission. There are places that you never can, you assume it's a Christian community. But by the time we take the gospel there, we saw the type of lifestyle they are living, their culture has dominated them, and by the time we take the gospel to them, I think even in heaven, the Bible says the angels will always rejoice when you draw a soul back to the kingdom. So that is the benefit, that the gospel is being taken to the unreached areas. The gospel is being taken afresh to people, and they are seeing it in another light, you know, different from, it has become a culture thing, and so they live the way they like. But sometimes when we take the gospel, they say, they don't know this is how the gospel ought to believe. So it's a very great benefit that souls are being drawn back to the kingdom. It's a very great thing. Well, we normally say that mission and evangelism is the heartbeat of the church. And our primate is not taking it lightly. Like I said, he's doing everything possible to make sure that we remain dynamic as a church. We don't want to be like what is happening in other countries where the church has been led for the elderly people who cannot even walk. Sometimes they are being wheeled to church and they will just dump them, and the young ones. The idea of the mission and evangelism is to reach everybody, including the youth. And if you are very observant these days, you see all the vibrant programs that the primate is putting in place. All are part of mission and evangelism. And as long as the church is still moving, is still going out to unreach people, and souls are being won into the kingdom, the church can never fold up. It is when we become redundant and we go to sleep, it is then the devil will come in, sow whatever he wants to sow, and then the church can die. But as long as we are moving on, the heartbeat is still pumping. That shows that the church is still alive, and it will continue to be alive until the coming of the Lord. Well, individually, we all have a part to play. We are all missionaries somehow. Even if you cannot go out to preach, you can support the work of mission financially. You can pray for mission. You can take it as your duty every day to pray for missionaries, because there are boys, men, women out there that we have sent out into the hinterland that it's not difficult, it's not easy for them. They are sent to places where it is very difficult to live the Christian life, where it is even difficult to preach the gospel. I remembered that some few years back, one or two of our mission partners died because of the environment they found themselves. So if you cannot support us financially, you can pray for us. But we pray that even if you cannot go, as you support us financially, we'll be able to recruit people who will go out there to support the work of God in terms of mission and evangelism. As for the dioceses, we want to appeal to our lordships, their graces, to please speak and encourage their pastors. In fact, I visited the diocese. The bishop was bemoaning the fact that all the clergymen in his diocese, they are very redundant when it comes to the issues of mission and evangelism. So I want to appeal to our bishops that they can even organize mission week, invite speakers, resource persons from other CNMS, to come and speak to their pastors, so that they will know what God has called them in the first instance. Not that it's only when we do Matins or communion. As beautiful as those are, if we only maintain that, the church will die with time. But as we continue to go out there recruiting more people into the church will continue to live. And that is our vision, that this church will continue to live until the coming of the Lord. So I want to appeal to them to please do everything. Mobilize their clergy, mobilize their laity. In fact, like I said, mission team is more of lay-driven, and make sure that people go out to unreached areas, and I know at the end, the name of God will be glorified. It's just by the grace of God that we are what we are. It's not by our own power. So I don't know. I can't even say how we manage, but it's just the mercy of God, because you have these wide areas to cover. You have your family to also to cover. You have the church you are attached to, and perhaps other diocesan responsibilities. It is just by the grace of God, and we continue to covet your prayers, so that we'll be able to do more, much more, We may not be doing enough, but with your prayers, we can do much more. The Anglican structure is one of the best you can ever find. It is what we call, the Anglican Church is what we called episcopally led and synodically governed. By that, you have somebody you look unto as the final arbiter. And that sense to give us some sense of responsibility. It gives us a sense of accountability, you know, and everybody has a role to play. It's not only the bishop, even the bishops, they all have their own council, those that advise them. Then the larger house of the synod is there to take decisions that pertains to the diocese. And it is not only the ordained people that are there, even the lay people, they say their mind. So it's a church that is all encompassing. It has rules for the bishop, it has rules for the clergy, it has rules for the lay, and when I mean lay, both women, both young ones, everybody. And so it's a wonderful church. It's a wonderful church. It's not an anyhow church. Even the bishop too, even though he is the ultimate, there are people who are also looking at how he also acts and does his own things. He doesn't do things just like that. He has a constitution to follow. So everybody is kept in check. So it's a very organized and disciplined church. And I think if I have my way again, I don't mind being an Anglican again. Yes, it's a very disciplined place. Very disciplined. Everybody knows his role. Everybody knows his duty. Everybody knows what to do. And everybody does it. And that gives us some sense of responsibility and accountability and focus as a group. Well, I just want each and every one of us to keep preaching the word in season and out of season. Whether it's in your family, you can be an evangelist. Because part of our mission is where Jesus read in Luke chapter 4, in verse 18 and 19, when he says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. I've been sent to set the captive free, you know, to liberate, to reconcile." So as a husband, as a wife, we should know that we are all evangelists in our home, in our neighborhood. We don't need to be commissioned to go to the village, the next village, because we see ourselves as evangelists. Wherever we are, in our offices, in our business domain, we should all go out and preach for the kingdom. Not now that even we have seen that Jesus is coming, is at the corner. We have seen all the things that are happening. All the signposts are there that the end time is near. And Jesus says, until the gospel is preached, he will not come back. So let us take it as our responsibility to go out, wherever that our out may be. It could be in our house, it could be in the neighborhood, and go and proclaim the gospel.